Welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the motherfucking most true offer.
And it's your favorite co-host, as a go offer, a.k.a. the boy wonder, a.k.a. El Nino.
Ha. Look at the camera. Because there is one. All right.
We're here, y'all. I want to go ahead and say thank you so much for bearing with us through these trying times of 2 years without any visual side to our podcast. But today's different.
You know why today's different?
Why?
Because me and you, two black kings, we decided to offer a seat at the table to our brother, Zakora.
Yo.
Even though I don't know if he wanted his name out there, because at the end of the day...
Zakora, go ahead and say something to the people, man.
What's up?
All right, they couldn't hear anything he said. It's all good.
Round of applause to Zakora in the back.
How's your week been, though? Fuck
my week's been good, man. Honestly, I wanted to go ahead and start off by saying it's been good, but, fuck my week. Y'all can see where my shirt says. That's not indicative of who I am. I had to borrow one for the pod. It's more of Chuka's personality. But, we'll go ahead and roll on to my actual week. But, yeah, it's been fun. I've tried to lock in and minimize going out with y'all and, doing things. I know we're kind of trying to slow it down a little bit.
This nigga don't even like to hang out with his brother no more?
You got to make money sometimes. And, my bank account's not looking like Oprah's, and I'm trying to get it there, so.
Okay, for surely.
How's your week been?
My week's been cool. It's been a lot of kind of working, really. I mean, I've been working, don't get me wrong, but I can't even say what I want to say because what if these niggas accidentally click my shit? So you know what? I love my job. Shouts out to y'all.
What if they did? Honestly, fuck them.
No, I love them niggas. Please don't ever talk about my place of employment like that. But that being said, it's been just basically working, hanging out with friends. Shouts out to everybody this week just because we ended up having a couple little occasions, just like out of the blue, whatever, and they ended up being fun. And we were back on our Swole Patrol gang. We got back into the gym. I was trying to take Esgo from Minnie Mouse to Mickey. You know what I'm saying?
He says that, but I was really trying to show my boy the ropes. You've been looking good recently, though. Keep it up, man. I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it. And so other than that, though, we've just been chilling. We've just been trying to get things together for the pod. Just been working on a little background stuff that we should have been worked on. But we got a good product, so we're working on everything else now. It's a little late. Let's do it.
Say.
That being said, let's roll straight into heat checks. What have you been listening to this week? What's your whole thing?
Of course, R.I.P. to the man. I've said this, I feel like, every week for, since he died now. But the deluxe album, Pop Smoke's album, just came out, so I've been listening to a lot of that. I enjoyed that a lot recently, and honestly, I've been listening to throwbacks of Jay and Smith's album or mixtape from a little while ago too, like the Sunset tapes. But yeah, for my actual heat check itself, it actually comes off Pop Smoke's new deluxe album, and it is called Iced Out Audemars featuring DAFI Woo. So that song is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, y'all should go ahead and listen to it. It got immediately added to the party playlist for whenever people are out and about next year, because this year is seeming like it's been canceled completely. Next year is gonna really be the vibes, and we're gonna see if people are still rocking with it.
All right, sounds good. This week, you know what I'm saying? I decided to continue on the Black Love, you know what I'm saying?
You're gonna say Lil Baby train.
No. Lil Baby's still in rotation, obviously, album of the year. But I try to, be an example for Black love. You know what I'm saying? I like to let people know that us as a Black community, we're trying to come together and we're trying to uplift everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And so this week I wanted to shout out Flo Milli. Shout out to my baby girl, Flo Milli. She put out the Ho Wise You Here project. And you know what? I like that bitch, nigga. That's a fire song. You gonna give me credit? No. I'm never giving Esgo any credit ever for any bad bitch music because he makes fun of so much bad bitch music that I listen to.
I don't make fun of it.
This nigga hates me.
I don't make fun of it. I don't think I actually hate my brother. But I'm not gonna lie. It might have been 2 weeks ago. I heard some shit. I know you didn't hear Flo Milli. Maybe if you heard about her before 2 weeks ago, I didn't put you on. But I heard some shit from somebody. Shouts out to Catherine. And I definitely mentioned it in one of our podcasts. So y'all can go ahead and backtrack the actual receipts and the actual facts and go ahead and let this man know.
All right. Well, damn, I guess call me out like that. But other than that, you want me to just get right into it?
I mean, shit, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm feeling good, man.
Kevin Gates released a single called Difficult. That shit was hard. But once again, we've gone on this podcast many a time to talk about the fact that...
Strictly on his music.
Yeah, strictly on his music. Kevin Gates might not be the best person to a lot of people when you're not listening to him in your headphones, but that being said, he makes nothing but hard music, so shouts out to him. Smino, JID, and Kenny Beats put out a song this weekend called Baghetti. That shit speaks for itself because, I mean, It's Smino fucking Brown.
I feel like Smino and the JID combo is just two of the smoothest niggas in the rap game right now.
So we had no choice but it to be fire.
And somehow Kenny Veets keeps on finding his way into these. And I'm not even mad at it because Kenny's doing his damn thing too.
Yes, sirski. And then there was the Drake Only You freestyle. I mean, that went hard. Drake gave us Habibi Drake, which was fire. You know what I'm saying? He unlocked a different form, a different mode for us. That shit was crazy to me because Drake is like Christopher Columbus, except for when he goes exploring into other people's countries, he makes them better. Every single time.
I was going to say, that's tough. I was going to say like Rosetta Stone, but this man's Christopher Columbus.
He's Christopher Columbus, except for he don't just come in and take your shit while trying to fuck you up at the same time.
You got to respect it. It's just love at that point.
And so shouts out to Drizzy on that one and Heady One. I don't want to forget the other half of the freestyle because that shit was hard from top to bottom. I just downloaded Gang Shit Only 2 by Lil CJ Casino, so I wanted to shout that out because Lil CJ Casino has only made good music as well. I don't know how, like, one of my young niggas put me on, shouts out to Saeed, and he put me on, like, 3 years ago to Lil CJ Casino, and I just...
3 years ago?
3 years ago.
Wow.
And so every single time he's put out a project, I just instantly downloaded it because one of the first times, and I know we've talked about him before on the podcast, but one of the first times that he played it, because he was one of the young niggas at the shop, I'm not going to lie to you, like back when I worked for my friend's smoke shop that he used to own, and he was one of the young niggas that, like, we would play music on speakers and shit in there all the time, right? Yeah. And he was one of the ones that would be chilling in there, and every time the young niggas suggested music, I played it sometimes, but sometimes these niggas be giving me trash, like gave me some garbage, right? And it's because I'm old. I get it. I'm old. So some of the shit I never...
You're playing straight into the stereotype at that point.
That's fine, but I didn't want to hear, and RIP to this man, don't get me wrong, but it's like 98% of the suggestions were Juice WRLD songs, and I was fucking with it, like half of them, until like these niggas only played the same shit, nigga. I'm trying to hear other shit too, right? And then Saeed said, nah, you heard of Lil CJ Casino? I was like, no, like, why the fuck would I ever press play on a nigga's music whose name is Lil CJ fucking
Because the music is tough.
But then the second I pressed play on his music, I was like, I never want to hear anything that doesn't come from Lil CJ Casino. So I only listened to his whole catalog since then, and everything he's dropped has been hard. So big shout out to Lil CJ Casino.
I know after I heard the ×3, like, Lil Britney Spears Toxic Flip or whatever, like you showed me, that my whole perspective on that man changed. And he instantly became an artist. Unlikely that got hella plays and rotations out of me. So honestly, good music too. He does make the turn up kind of shit though. So you're not listening to it if you're trying to study or something.
The way that
you know what you're trying to do when you're like listening to CJ Casino.
The way that ass moves at a party when ×3 comes on is different.
Crazy.
Different. And so Lil CJ Casino will always have respect for me because that's a beautiful sight. And so shouts out to him. And J. Cole put out a 2-pack this week. They're both songs coming from his upcoming tape, which he did make sure to let us know does not have a release date yet. But the songs are called Lion King on Ice and The Climb Back. I'm going to be real with you. That nigga's snapping. That nigga was snapping on both of them. Like, he was kind of giving... It sounded like two songs that were kind of like just in case y'all forgot songs. You know what I'm saying? When a nigga gets into just in case y'all forgot bag. When, you know, I'm not being talked about like y'all were talking about me 2 years ago when I was on the crazy feature run. And y'all liked my album. Y'all liked the Dreamville project, etc. But I'm going to remind y'all, while y'all talk about Drake and Kendrick, I'm still J. Cole.
Yeah, it's nice because I know compared to, like, I guess, Middle Child and things like that or whatever, kind of like, you know, singles that have come out from J. Cole throughout the years, whatever, recently at least, these are very reminiscent of the J. Cole that's trying to bar you out, like, and will give you bars about the most beautifully written story, you know, at the same time as he's doing it. And it's nice because he really does paint, like, a good picture of whatever he's trying to talk about through his rhymes and really does deliver, like, artistry. And so shout out to an artist like that. I don't know how many more albums he really has in him, but I know...
He swears this is the last one, but...
If this is the last one, this is going to be one of his best ever, and I'm sure of it.
It's got to be his best.
The caliber of music he's been making, it's going to be interesting seeing him, because I don't want to go on too much of, like, a little bit of a tangent here.
We can give Cole a little time.
But, because it's the Cole, Kendrick, Drake talk and shit. All the albums that they're about to drop are going to be some of their last, unless you're Drake trying to make music when you're 50, which Drake seems like he's going to fall into that category of.
And he's going to make the best music still when he's 50. I don't know why. This nigga a heat maker.
However, though, like, those people, when they finally drop their stuff and transition out of, it's going to be, like, a very cool time to see in music and rap especially, because I don't know if we have any One Piece fans out there, but it's like Gold Roger dies and all of a sudden, who's up next?
Oh,
Who
for
wants
sure.
it? So
Who's
I'm
on your
excited
short
to see
list
it.
of like popping young niggas that is up next? And I have to take two names out of this pot because they can't be called up next when they're doing gold first week. Uzi's not in this pot, and Travis Scott is clearly not in this pot.
Like up next, like don't have any type of a buzz.
Not
or
don't have any.
like little.
It's just like looking like they're going from the B tier to the A tier to the possibly S tier. Of rap
It sucks
in the
because
coming
I
year.
wish this question was asked months ago, but still in 2020 because I would have said Roddy Ricch off for it before his last album dropped, but that doesn't even matter now.
Roddy's a bit early for me, but that's somebody I could agree with just talent wise. That was one of the few I had on like my short list of people that would be up next in this music shit.
But now it's like kind of a weird time for me, especially because I've settled more into I listen to more established artists now. So if I tap back into my
tears,
bag
though,
and like
remember.
really drop down, I got tears, but
Because Lil
still.
Baby's my number one answer, obviously. But
for this,
Yeah.
Oh, so that's
that's what I'm
the
saying.
gauge.
Like,
Okay.
Lil Baby, I think, is in the one spot right now for the niggas that are clearly pushing their way into. Y'all are gonna be talking about me like the Meeks, the Drakes,
Yeah.
the like top of the rap game, like
Yeah.
30-year-olds now, like the
That's
people in their 20s that are
tough.
taking that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You'd have to come back to me on that. That's a hard
We'll
question.
save that one. We'll
Yeah.
save that one for sure.
I like it though.
And so, just keeping it on music, since most of the news we have this week is music news.
Yeah.
I want to go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead
I
and-
want to
'cause I
start
need to-
us with a
I need to
RIP.
talk about some
Okay.
other albums that dropped before we move on completely.
Yeah, for sure. Go
like
ahead.
into like the rest of this though.
Oh
'Cause,
my
again,
goodness.
like I know we did talk, but we did skip over Pop Smoke's deluxe album, which is I'm not gonna skip.
'Cause that was
over.
last week.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
We didn't talk about it though.
I mentioned it.
I don't think we. Oh, anyway. Regardless if we mentioned it or whatever, I don't think we actually gave it like the dive because I think we might have said that we were gonna like chill down and sit down and like really listen and come back to and things like that.
go ahead, though.
But I think it anyway. Some of my favorite things off of it, Showing Off Part 1 and 2, were incredible, and it's nice to see like 5EO on the album like we wanted to see the first time, even though we didn't get it. And I feel like this deluxe should
No,
have been
my fault. We didn't talk about it. Go ahead.
the original.
Yeah.
And so Iced Out Audemars featuring DAFI, well, like I already said, for my Heat Check, was probably my favorite song off of it. A lot of those first three songs, or I guess excluding Hotel Lobby, were complete vibes for like the turn up and scene and things like that. However, as you make your way down, he really does try and put like a different feel on it and different things, incorporating songs like She Feeling Nice with Jamie Foxx. I mean, the Diana remix throwing in a whole nother vibe to it. It's whatever.
That Showing Off too was dangerous.
man.
That was definitely mine, but I just love the 5EO pop energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nigga, I've been dancing ADD bouncing off the walls the whole time in here. So I mean, that's like the shit I really just fuck with at the moment.
Exactly. And one more person, because I know this person's young, and some of their music really does scream, I'm a teenager, 100%. But on this podcast, we like to give shine to whoever and all artists and things like that, you know, we find their music, paintings, whatever, like kind of artistry they do in some vein, especially if I see potential in it myself. So the Kid Laroi just dropped his first mixtape, Fuck Love, that I feel like this guy is 16, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. By the time he's 20, he's going to be one of the bigger names that we hear in rap.
I hope he's just Leroy by then.
Oh, I'm sure. But, you know, when you're 16, having a name called The Kid, I don't think is really that bad of a thing.
For sure.
But
I just hope he doesn't Joey Badass and keeps it, and this nigga almost 30. Oh, no, this nigga my age.
Joey Badass is not. Yeah, I was about to say.
No, he's my age, though. He's still Joey Badass with 2 money signs. Nigga, your music is 2.5. That nigga also just released a 3-pack, which was super hard, don't get me wrong. It's just like when I heard Joey Badass and I was 19, I was like, ooh, I'm excited, Joey Badass. And now his music quality, music ability, and all that have only gotten better. But I get less excited to press
Are you really
play.
lingering on the name?
Bro, it's like, bro, when I click on it and it has 2 money signs, I just be thinking, bro, you get beautiful women, you have so much money, you are almost 30, like I'm almost 30, you know what I'm saying? His age rounds up there like mine does. It's like, bro, you might just need to be Joey at this point. You feel me? Like,
I'm sure he'll make that little switch up, but when you're a well-established artist like that, I know it is always big to rebrand and really toss out your whole shit because a lot of people search you by a specific name and specific things. So, like, if they're not really consistent fans and you do a whole rebranding, they're lost to the wayside.
So how about Bow Wow?
What about Bow Wow?
He went from Lil Bow Wow to Bow Wow. He grew up, nigga.
Yeah, and certain people stopped fucking with Bow Wow, but he also got a lot more fans in other ways. Like, a rebranding is just...
So you don't think Bow Wow's a legend?
I don't know.
Bow
why
Wow,
I'm
Ray
getting
J, or
friends,
Soulja
or-
Boy?
Y'all see it fine.
Bow Wow-
It's not even y'all hear it, y'all see it.
Bow Wow,
finally.
Ray J, or Soulja Boy?
Why are you giving me these 3 names?
Because they're the leaders of this new generation. And I want to see where your loyalty lays.
I gotta say one.
Yeah, say one.
Gotta say one. Bow Wow.
That's the wrong answer, nigga, because Ray J started all this shit.
Ray J, I'm not saying
Y'all
Soulja
remember
Boy.
this. Ray J started all of this shit.
I'm not saying either.
Big Soulja's right there, too. Bow Wow's the third. Anyways, let's continue on. There was definitely an album, but shouts out to the Kid Laroi, 100%. There was an album that we completely did not talk about this week. There's 2 of them. 3 of them, wow. One is Gunna dropped one of the deluxe, right? And I'm not going to lie to you.
I wish we had Cullen here for that, because he got really excited to talk about Gunna last week when we just said Ghana. And thought that he heard Gunna.
Jesus Christ. But I won't say I'll say I haven't gotten to the deluxe since I didn't care that much. Personally, it takes a lot to draw me to a deluxe album just because I've already listened to your 20 songs that you put out now, because that's just the typical hotspot, it seems like, for music now. So then when niggas put out the deluxe, it'd be 30 songs, and it's just like, nigga, I got a life too. But that being said, it's like, I don't know. I know it's probably fire. Like, Gunna only make good music too. So I mean, like, I know that shit is probably hard. The Logic dropped his final album, and I wanted to give it a shout because it is his final project. He says he's retiring, blah blah blah. That being said, I'm never pressing play.
Why you had to ruin such a sweet moment?
What do you mean?
You're so sure you're never gonna press play on it?
I'm never going to listen to that.
Never.
There's too much good music out. Too much.
How do you know that's not good music?
It's okay because I don't want to know.
Bro, that's all right. I'm just gonna say, to be honest, I'm not the biggest Logic fan. His first album was really good to me. Have I listened to much more since? No. But I feel like he's someone who's caught so much heat along the way of his career.
Because this nigga white and black.
And to be retiring...
Because this nigga biracial, bro.
Is that why he's catching heat? Because he's biracial?
Yes. It's colorism, nigga. We buy into it. I'm dark skinned.
I feel like you're just saying shit now. I feel like you're trying to just, I don't even know what's going on, but I'm gonna start putting a little bit more respect on that man's name, because to see someone who's been so, like, whatever, he's a big name. Yeah. Someone who's been such a big name since I was in high school and, like, making rap and, like, friends listen to, well, I would see old Call of Duty montage videos with fucking Logic and all these things. For him to be retiring, I feel like that's a moment you give a little bit of a round of applause. It's like, you know, you did your career.
I'm not clapping for the white man.
He's black, too. Bro, he's half black.
Because he got curly hair. This nigga like Sean King.
Is Klay Thompson black?
Yes. But Klay Thompson's a shooter, so I knew he was black. Was I?
Logic actually raps. Like,
I'm just kidding. Giving Logic all
I know,
credit.
all jokes aside, but, like, at some point you gotta give some respect.
All credit where credit's due. Logic, obviously, like, every album's been a top 5 in his career. He sells out arenas. He has millions of fans. I just happen not to be one of them, so it's just
nothing's wrong with that. But you said can't be. That's crazy.
There's no way I'm pressing play ever. I just like to keep an honest environment. Yeah. So I never want the accidental play that Logic may give us one day, right? And I want him to know I will happily talk to him. He seems like a cool human being. I heard he was a sweetheart. I just know myself. I'm never pressing play. Okay. I'm never doing that. But on another album that I'm probably never pressing play on, we do have to give shouts to Taylor Swift, because I heard she made a great album this week.
Does Taylor Swift need our props?
She needs our props, bro.
Does she in any way need our props? Because she's going to make her bag, and I'm not really listening to let me take a step back. I was trying to pull a Chuka for a second. I'll give T Swizzle the fucking listen.
I just heard it was a lot of sad music, and I've just been too happy to listen to sad music lately. So it's just like, I know that sounds cliche, but it's like, I'm somebody that enjoys listening to music for my moods, right? Yeah. And so, like, when I'm sad, I listen to sad music. Or I listen to uppity music to try to get me out of being sad, right? But sometimes you like to sit and stew in the sadness and just feel, right? Yeah. Like, it's just good to feel these emotions sometimes. So I feel that it's just like, this album, there's a long time before it gets placed for me. It might have to get cold outside. And it's not even just because of the vibe of it being cold and, like, dreary and, like, that kind of blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've been on a hot streak, nigga. It's going to take a little second for me to go down. And so by that time, I think it might be a little cool outside when I have a little seasonal depression. I'll be like, ooh, let me throw in the T-Swift.
You got a little seasonal depression going on, trying to tap into some past bags and some past vibes.
For sure.
Reminisce.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted to give shouts there.
That's cool, though. But, you know, getting into, I guess, non-album related, but still music news, right?
Most of the stuff we do have this week is music news, and then we have some sports stuff near the end, of course. Shouts out to Mike Tyson. But it's like, one thing I do want to go ahead and say to start us off before we even get into the shits is R.I.P. to Regis Philbin. And
not living, but he was a legend. And he was a legend while he was living.
He was a super legend. Like, I've never seen somebody get hoes off of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's crazy.
Not a day in my life.
And he probably was doing it. I'm sure that nigga was slanging. And pause. But I mean, like, two, this nigga Regis lived 88
I'm trying to keep it straight. He threw it all.
No, bro, look at Regis, bro. The demeanor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like, to be honest, and it's tough to talk about these things, especially when you have such old white people. But I feel like Regis has always been a relatively cool, like, kind person and things like that.
He's always been like a Mr. Rogers type. You know what I'm saying? Like the happy-go-lucky nice guy.
It was really nothing problematic about Regis, and it was kind of nice to see like him enjoy his career, enjoy his time and whatnot.
88 long years. You know what I'm saying? He lived a great life. He died of natural causes. It wasn't anything corona-related or anything like that. It's just like one thing with this pandemic that a lot of people have forgotten is people still die from natural causes. People still die from other things that aren't coronavirus. People still get regular sicknesses. If you see a nigga coughing in public, obviously you never want to be in the way of somebody coughing. Like, that's just regular.
I'm about to say, things changed, bro. Since Corona, if I see somebody cough now, I'm doing the fastest story I've ever done.
Niggas be
I'm out of there.
Bro, it's just like sometimes I'll hit the vape and I'll cough. And then like there'll be like a little old lady next to me like,
bro, who thinks she's about to see God.
You know what I'm saying? Like thinking I'm about to send her to her maker. And it's like, no, it's just this shit is strong sometimes. Yeah. Like, I feel you. But that being said, R.I.P. to Regis. And I just wanted to make sure that you get a big I love you from the Offspace, because that was somebody, we watched a lot of that shit. Mom had a lot of them shows on when we were a kid.
Did you see the clip or whatever? I guess like it had to do with him because he was hosting the show at the time, where the guy calls in to tell his dad he's about to win like whatever X amount of money because he knows the answer or whatever. That was one of the biggest flexes I've ever seen.
That is hard. Crazy. No, that was one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen, to be completely honest.
Bro, imagine you flex like that and then you miss the answer.
Bro, I'm the type of nigga to do that. Like with my confident ass, I feel like I'd be like, hey, yo, Ma, you feel me? Like, I just start showing her the FaceTime. I'm like, look at this crowd. They're about to see me win $1 million. And I'm at 500,000. They're going to double it. You know what I'm saying?
Or double it or you lose it all.
Or double it or you lose it all. And then they'll be like, so what state is to the right of Texas? And I'll be like, man, nigga, this shit easy. Oklahoma. Like, throw my stupid ass out. Oh, my goodness. I'm fighting that nigga. No, he just passed. Obviously, I'm not really fighting an old white man. But I mean, like, I might swing on Esgo if he's on stage.
It depends what you say.
True. I am fighting an old white man.
Watch yourselves.
We live in the South, nigga.
Hey,
but
follow the Offspace podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and SoundCloud, and Apple, and Spotify. Had to throw that random plug in there. Now, since we got the people watching a video, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still excited about this, and I know we gotta roll into the rest of it, but I hope y'all are just as excited as we are.
For surely. And so, big shouts out there. In other music-related news, though, just to take it right back, I wanted to just give a quick little... shouts to Snoop Dogg and DMX for the verses that they just did, just because
there's no way that Snoop Dogg lost.
Killed that nigga, low key. No. Actually, DMX came in hot the second half, but Snoop won because Snoop has too many hits.
I was about to say, like DMX probably got like one or two off of like the No. DMX has hits. Because DMX... That was DMX, right?
DMX is one of the few people on this planet that has a diamond album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the records for biggest crowds.
It's crazy because Diamond album, but how many of those did those age?
Still at this time.
Really?
Yes. It's just like DMX, huge legend. I never want to put no disrespect on him because DMX is cleaning the floor with a lot of these hip hop legends, like 95, 96% of these hip hop legends. But then you step into a room with a nigga like Snoop Dogg who had hits in the 80s, the 90s, the 2010s, and the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga had hits in 4 decades. He could really still
drop a hit, I feel like, if he wanted to in this day and age.
And so that's just too many hits to choose from. And so Snoop ended up winning, to me, I think, like probably like 12-8, 13-7. But I mean, it was just cool to see. My main thing with these, like, fuck the competition, and I love the banter with other people that like hip-hop and just talking about these things. The main dope thing for me is seeing our older legends in our community, like, celebrated respectfully And I love seeing them enjoy themselves and having a good time and seeing them celebrated in a good light. Because a lot of people may not know, because I know a lot of our listeners are our age or younger, and we're definitely not the age group that was like older and out like while
that
DMX was
the
popping.
true ones to be
Exactly.
enjoying like these different artists and whatnot.
Not everybody knows about DMX's history and a lot of the stuff he's battled with, like gone through, but he's had lots of dark years, lots of dark time. So seeing DMX next to Snoop Dogg, which it seemed like they were homies, blah blah blah, but just like dancing and jigging to songs and just like really getting into it, like really brightened my day up and made me happy. So
I know.
I'm happy to see him in a good place for real. Like, because black mental health is something that male mental health in general is something that we should be more focused on, because the world likes to tell men like shut up and tough it out for most of the time, like when you're going through shit. But I mean, like, just seeing black people, especially because in our communities, like we know as Nigerians, you know, and just like foreign people in general,
mental health is not taken
black
seriously.
men,
It's definitely casted off to the wayside.
Exactly. It's just like suck it up, tough it out. So just happy to see him in a good spot. So shouts out to them.
I'm not trying to be morbid, and so y'all bear with me, but I know, especially talking on what you were saying too, it's nice to see these versus battles, even out of someone like me who, to be honest, I didn't listen to like a whole lot of DMX like that past like the most popular things that everyone did, but to see these versus battles come in with artists again that aren't from like the decade that you're really like rocking with and really grew up in, it's nice because let's say, you know, we all age and things like that are past. At this point, do you think people really understand how the day-to-day culture was of living in the 70s? Fuck the 70s, like the 80s,
Even
like
the 90s.
And the 90s are on the way out too. With like the younger people, don't, like really younger, aren't going to really understand like what day to day and like life was to even be a kid, teenager, whatever. So it's nice to see these people who at some point are going to be forgotten, because everyone is, you know, we're all human beings. Like 3,000 years down the line, they're not going to give a fuck about the Offspace maybe, but
no, they'll still be talking about the Offspace.
I hope.
Right there next to Drake on Mount Rushmore.
I hope. But it is nice to see these people celebrated, especially while they're still living, to an audience that they may not have ever been able to capture beforehand.
And that's one of my favorite things, just to wrap up the verse segment though, but that's one of my favorite things about verses, right? Because people like me who went out of our way, because like you have to be real, and I hate when people like try to act like the most OD like hip hop head, like blah blah blah, this that. Nigga, I am 26. Right? Like when DMX was popping, I wasn't even 10 years old yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no way I was out there what these bitches want from me.
Bro, somebody about my age said that Lil Nas said that Nas was trash. And I'm talking about Lonzo, you know what I'm saying? And that's people my age kind of, you know? At the end of the day, we didn't necessarily grow up on a certain kind of artist or a certain like group of artists, but
that's why these verses are special, because somebody that didn't know about a lot of Snoop's hits or didn't know DMX has a bag of hits, like a bag of hits, like your comment, like because you're younger, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. If they watch the verses, they may, because verses always, they get extremely like inflated streams after the verses, because it's a bunch of youth and a bunch of other people going through and saying, yo, let me check these artists out. So I love introducing them to the youth and introducing them to younger audiences. Man. Absolutely. And so
getting on to the rest, though.
Speaking of black mental health, this next segment, we're going to speak on with respect. We're going to speak on with love. And I'm not going to speak on this with my normal Chuka candor when it comes to this human being, because obviously, in my opinion, something is wrong. And I truly wish for the best for this human. And I do want to say that I love this person because of what they've personally done for me growing up. And so, like, I have been very critical of, yes, Kanye West, like, a lot of the times on the podcast. But just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, like, this week, he did a rally earlier this week. Actually, right after we filmed last week.
South Carolina?
It was in South Carolina. He did a rally for his presidential campaign, right?
Yep.
And he was out there saying stuff like Harriet Tubman she didn't free slaves, she just had them work for other white men, and like talking about like abortion and just like weird things with.
And talking about how he like tried to get rid of his child and Kim stopped him, how he was like whatever.
And he was crying.
He was going through a mental break physically on stage, and that's tough to see when you know like how bad, I guess, some of these mental disorders, especially like because he suffers from bipolar, and so knowing how bad those can get from like personal experiences dealing with people like that or like talking to people and whatnot, and just seeing, I guess, the world feed into it because he's Kanye West. So people are like you know, they're almost egging it on, like, oh, say what you gotta say, like, let's hear it and things like that, instead of, bro, like, take a step back and let's get you some help. Like, because it's so tough to see somebody who meant so much to so many different people and was inquisitive and was thoughtful and caring at times just seem like he's just like breaking.
And even then, it's just like, I don't want to sound like I'm defending some of the things he's saying, because I don't. But it's just like, we have been in the room and we have been considered ourselves, right, just different thinkers, right? So sometimes you say things that people may not all the way understand how you are trying to present it or your point, right? Mm-hmm. And the deeper meaning may be something they need, okay? And so I don't want to take away and try to misread a lot of the things he was saying, correct? But let me just read off a couple tweets, Like he said, they tried to fly in with 2 doctors to 5150 me. I've been trying to get divorced since Kim met with Meek at the Waldorf for prison reform, in quotes. I got 200 more to go. This is my lady tweet of the night, Chris Jong-un. Lil Baby, my favorite rapper, but won't do a song with me. Which
I'm not trying to laugh
which
right
Lil
now.
Baby later tweeted,
It's
damn,
hilarious.
nobody told him he wanted to do a song with him, because of course he wants to do a song with Kanye fucking West. And then he tweeted something else like, Meek is my man and was respectful. That's my dog. Kim K was out of line. I'm worth $5 billion and more than that through Christ, but y'all ain't listen to MJ and now y'all believe them, quote unquote.
Kanye's worth $5 billion.
He just said that out loud. It may be true, like, to be real with you, with how big, like, Yeezy, Gap, and all that stuff. But, like, that being, like, one thing that I kind of just got upset with a lot of the community this week was a lot of people egging it on, right? Mm-hmm. Because I am not the most well-versed on mental health, and I'm never going to act like I am. I think I do a good job for myself, and I'm still learning every single day, and it's a process that you have to learn every single day, right? Just like I think the same with you. I think you have a pretty high emotional intelligence yourself, right? I look up to a lot of things you say and do, and like how you carry yourself and how you keep yourself centered. But that also being said, it's just
Appreciate
like...
that.
For surely. But it's like, that also being said, it's like, when you are clearly watching someone have a manic episode on social media, right? Which he's done, and I don't want to defend in terms of he's done that before every album since TLOP. So I don't want to act like it's all a part of a rollout. It may all be a part of a rollout. It smells like it's all a part of a rollout. That being said, regardless of the intentions, regardless of the reasonings for, it's somebody that needs to be covered with love right now. It's somebody needs to be covered with prayers and thoughts from people. And it's somebody, quite frankly, that the public needs to leave the fuck alone, because one thing for certain, and I don't know if it's like validation tickets or validation bucks, whatever, but I mean, like, we all know Kanye has always loved being the center of attention, right? Yeah. And he's always loved being the center of the mix and always loved the headlines, etc. And so I could see that twisting in, and I'm just guessing, but I could see that twisting in with Manic Episodes in terms of he knows what instantly brings all the headlines to himself. And that being said, if people were to ignore him, I know the world's not going to ignore Kanye West, trust me. But if people were to ignore him, maybe he may listen to some of the people that try to get him help, may go with those doctors if need be, which, once again, I've never dealt with situations like that, so I don't want to sound insensitive. May take that medicine that they say he's off at the moment, allegedly.
But, you know? I mean, going back to, like, I guess the people egging it on and things like that, when you have people on social media or whatever...
But in my room.
Yeah, you can ignore that. But yeah, when you have people on social media, for the most part, you know they're gonna air out their opinions on whatever, unfiltered, doctor. I mean, shit. People don't even think before they tweet anymore. You know, they just let it fly.
I know I don't,
and I know you don't. So basically, you have those moments from a community that might be a little bit more, I don't want to say sheltered, but more put into like a bubble with dealing with things like mental health and just these different things that you see Kanye, like, I guess, projecting or like going through on interviews or on TV or on like live broadcasts, whatever. And so, at least in my own experience, I know it's really hard to get an understanding, especially of how you're supposed to navigate and deal with that as somebody who isn't necessarily afflicted with those same disorders when again, and like trying to deal with that. So I'm losing my whole train of thought here, but bear with me, y'all. So going through a personal experience and
I'll piggyback off that a little bit for you.
But I'm saying
after.
Yeah. What's helped me is being able to talk to people and genuinely make connections with those who, again, are suffering from these different things, and just hearing how they're dealing with it, how it affects them, and then also taking a step back so that you can observe yourself, like, what are signs of these things? And if it is going on, how can I take a step back before playing in and making this person look like they're a joke or gesture of some type, and just really bringing the right kind of attention, which is you need help. And so, yeah, that's essentially what I'm trying to say.
And you know what? I was going to speak more on, like, the Kim stuff and the blah, 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 but I don't even want to get gossipy or get fucking, like,
and I feel like that's family business,
tinfoil hat on all this, because that's real family business that these people need to deal with behind closed door. But I do want to piggyback a little bit off of what you were saying, and that maybe goes into a part of, I never want to take credit for anything that's become the person that is Ezgo offered today, right? But just in terms of you like learning about certain things, I've seen like one instance of you learning which had to do with me, and a lot of our family had to learn having to do with me, because just being vulnerable for a second, it's like I've battled with very bad depression since like late high school, right? And I get into like crazy ruts sometimes. I've learned to handle it a little bit better like within the years, etc. But I mean, I've seen how like me in that, like, I'm basically a caterpillar in a cocoon in a dark room, don't want to talk to anyone, not eating anything for months, blah, 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 like gets for my family and friends and my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the effects it's had on other people. And so clearly it's like, I understand that, yes, it's something that the person who deals with it, right, has to work through, has to learn about, and has to work themselves out of, you know, the best of their abilities. But it is a learning process for people that do choose to remain in your life, right? That have to learn how to meander around those things themselves, right? Because if somebody just using them, for instance, or using you, blah, blah, it's like, I know it's probably frustrating at times, right? Yeah. Like when you can't get me out of the rut and we need to do shit, you know what I'm saying? Or like when my sisters are blowing up my phone trying to talk to me and I'm just ignoring everybody. Like I'm just not talking to anybody, not talking to my parents for weeks. And I know I've gotten better, so I'm just using like vulnerable like examples of just like some of the worst times in the past, but it's like, it's a learning experience, once again, for everyone, right? So all of his family that he's talking about, you know, whether it be his, like, mother-in-law, or whether it be his wife, etc., those people are all learning as they go, too. So I don't want to ever talk down on those people because it's a process, right? Especially when it seems like, from the outside, right, that these are people that do love and care about this man. So once again, prayers for Kanye West. We definitely need to take mental health more seriously as a community for men in general. Right?
I know a lot of people don't really like to talk on their issues. And to be honest, a lot of people don't like to, even if they're not talking and they're just having other people talk to them to kind of open up their eyes to certain things or kind of make them do some self-reflection internally. It's like, just put yourself in the position where, you can at least start conversations and dialogues around these different things that might be affecting you. Because I know as someone like myself, I'm not going to go into like some long-winded like backstory and things like that. There's been certain key moments in life that I remember, like, when they happen, I'm just like, shit, okay, like, I guess that's just life, you know, keep it pushing, keep it moving. And then later on, after I wasn't necessarily living the kind of lifestyle I wanted to, and I could tell, like, there was certain baggage that was, like, carrying on with me, I ended up having conversations around these different things with, like, loved ones and, like, people who, I guess, were versed in, like, this different realm of, like, psychiatry or whatever, that could kind of help me deal with those things. So it's just at least make yourself available and vulnerable to be able to process what's happening to you and what has happened. And when we can, for sure, when you can, because everybody has to build themselves up to those moments. Because at the end of the day, once again, I truly believe, no matter how good your background was, because we grew up privileged in the scope of things, in the scale of things, like in general. We grew up relatively privileged. He got it out the mud.
Yeah. We grew up relatively privileged. And I know some people grow up extremely privileged. Yeah. Some people grow up extremely, like, with lacking, right? But that being said, it's just like, I think everybody has trauma. Everybody has things in their past that they could work through.
I feel like you don't even need to, like, think that. It's just,
It's the fact. You know what I'm saying? I think truly. And so one thing that we need to start, whenever there are funds available, I know there's a lot of free things right now for Black people. Thankfully, with everything going on, people are realizing a lot of the depths of mental health in the Black community, especially. I have to talk about my people, for sure. That being said, like trying our best to find therapy, to find that close friend that really does care about you, to find your parents, your siblings, your cousins, etc., that are willing to talk to you, that are willing to, or find what you need. This nigga Esgo like a fucking monk. Like
they love to give me this, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know if how much I really prescribe to it.
I'm saying like I go to therapy like every single year. I go to therapy for months out of the year, and it always helps me for the past few years. Shouts out to my ex for that, because that was one of the best things she did for me. That being said, it's like
I know mine.
You'll be like, nigga, like a fucking a sunset hike is therapy for this
I know
nigga.
For me,
he loves nature too much.
Nothing makes you reflect more on yourself. I don't want to stay on this too long, but I know nothing, at least for me, makes me reflect more on myself and like tap into things I wasn't aware of, and really help me become more in tune with who I am, as well as my position in the world and like my connection with other human beings and my spirituality and all that, than just putting yourself out in like just the depths of nature by yourself at random times, especially like sunrise, because something about seeing the sun come up, it just makes you so small. In the middle of like a mountain makes you feel so small, but so capable and like big at the same time, and really makes you like forgive yourself. And I know that's a conversation for a whole different day, but I'm just going to say that too for anybody who is thinking about doing things like that. There's something about forgiveness that just gets awakened when you go out into these positions. And I feel like that's probably at the base of like any type of like, I guess, mental health, or like, you know, going through things and trying to get better, is forgiveness. Because at some point you got to forgive yourself and you got to forgive others for whatever happened to you. But I don't want us to dwell on this too much longer, because I know we got a lot more to talk about, and with very limited recording time.
No, we're good.
We're gonna figure that out.
And so like some of the stuff for sure is like quick topics. Like our last music topic that I wanted to go into wasn't really a topic. It was just giving a shout out, to be completely honest. Right. Shouts out to Nicki Minaj, because of the fact that it seems like she's talked about wanting to be a mother for a while, right? She's talked about motherhood and like waiting till the right points in her career, etc. And she just recently announced that she is pregnant. So shouts out to her once again, like speaking about my people, my community, which I will always use my platform to do. Black women have the highest mortality rates and the highest complications while pregnant and while delivering babies. So prayers covering that person and just hoping for the best for her. And once again, shouts out to her and the new budding of a family that she's having.
Look, I know Nicki Minaj said that all these bitches are her sons.
Damn.
But looks like they gotta find a new mother.
Damn, bars.
Looks like they gotta find a new mother. They gotta find a new brother.
You can only do that on the Offspace, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, where else can you find some bars like that?
Yo, I might pack it up, man. I'm hanging it up.
You know what? Y'all want an Offspace cipher?
Yo.
Not now. No, save the sauce. Different video. Okay, trust. And so, moving on from Nicki, we do have a little bit of Trump news. The first bit of Trump news.
This clown. I'm back into it with another week of Trump and on his bullshit.
One thing I will say, and we're going to skate over because, you know, of the people listening, of course, like... The husband and son of U.S. District Court Judge Esther Salas, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, were shot this evening after gunmen dressed as a Federal Express delivery driver entered their North Brunswick home. Her son is dead. Her husband is in critical condition.
Can I go ahead and just say something right now?
What's up?
This sounds like a scene from a movie, and the scene prior to it was a man on a phone who was calling for a hit. Because who goes just coincidentally like to and accidentally kill somebody dressed as like somebody who's at their place of work trying to do these certain things and whatnot? This seems like it was really a whole process.
And I mean, you were just saying, tinfoil hats, they work sometimes. But she just happens to be the judge. So her husband and son got hit. She just happens to be the judge that is presiding over the Epstein Deutsche Bank case.
Whoa!
Back to Epstein. That's
Alert.
Incredible.
You all thought we forgot. We didn't.
Speaking a little bit, keeping it on Epstein for a second, y'all's boy Trump wishes, and I don't know how to pronounce this woman's name, and I think it's Ghislaine.
Let me see one more time, because I thought it was Ghislaine
Maxwell. We're just going to call her Mrs. Maxwell.
G. Maxwell.
G. Max. So Trump wished G Max the best, and basically was talking about like used to hang out with her and things like that, and just saying blah blah blah. And so basically, I'm just saying.
Two ways that this can go. Personally, two ways that this can go.
Inspector Gadget is here, the detective.
He does that when he has no real facts, but the tinfoil hat is set.
No facts at all. I'm about to blatantly start lying, by the way. So I want to go ahead and preface this by saying I'm lying. I don't know anything. That being said, so look, this nigga Trump, he said, yo, I know G-Max. They were like, yo, word, where do you know G-Max from? Boom, 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 right?
Receipts.
He said something about some tropical sounding place that they would hang out, right? Boom, boom, boom. I looked at that picture, of Trump and G-Max and Epstein. There was a palm tree in the back. Boom. Let's go ahead. The island, nigga. So they were hanging out on the island.
Pedo Island.
And Trump was on Pedo Island with G-Max, and now he's the president of the United States because y'all bitch-ass niggas. That's the end of the detective segment.
I'm just saying this can go one of two ways. Either if the man steps out like this and is really just so cool with, I knew her, like we were good. I've known her for a minute now.
He's trying to cover his tracks.
Think about this. When Epstein got brought up, he was like, he really didn't know that man like that. He was trying to let people know he's really not connected like they thought. But if him claiming her like that, it's either one of two things. It's either
he's about to
she
say,
really
don't tell on me and I'll pardon you.
She really is innocent, like completely, and it's just like a weird like mixture of things, or she's got a lot deeper shit than Epstein did.
Whoa, she probably has all the facts.
And I'm just saying, she's a woman too in that position. I know, I'm just saying, she probably worked harder to attain her position. She probably got a lot of receipts on these niggas.
A lot of receipts. He basically said, yo, you don't tell on me, you can tell on that Clinton woman, don't worry about her. Chrissy Teigen, out of here.
He's been trying to get somebody to tell on fucking Hillary for years now. This man's been trying to do it himself.
Bro, he said it the second. He's like that nigga in class, bro. He did it.
Second it was all for president.
That's funny. But moving right along, though, for some more Trump news, he dispatched the feds onto Portland. Right?
Yeah.
And wasn't this the first instance that the president has directly unleashed the federal agents onto a city? Because
I know I'm not the best for this because I'm confusing. Because to be fair, I thought this has kind of been happening since Trump said that it's different states and the U.S. military should.
They were requesting the
National
National Guard
to be able to step in. So the National Guard, I thought, kind of fell into that realm. However, I know this is a little bit different, where it's different. Was it Homeland Security?
I couldn't.
Because I think it was Homeland Security or whatever.
Yeah, DHS.
Customs and Border Patrol.
Customs and Border Patrol. Okay, thank you. Cool. And so, so going around
at the table.
Unmarked vehicles.
You feel me?
Yo, that's the core behind this.
You know what I'm saying?
Like
Sersky.
But going around in unmarked vehicles and dressed down.
And just snagging niggas. Snagging niggas.
On the way on the way out of protests, from protests, just all around it, trying to take them straight to courthouses and trying to take them straight to jail. And really, I'm not going to lie.
The mayor of Portland, the governor, senators have all talked about how this is causing nothing but more problems in that city.
Of course, but to be fair, do you think they actually believe what they're saying, or do you think they're just using that as to make it a partisan thing? Because I hope they really mean it, but it really seems like, you fucked up and we're going to use it for our political gain.
For me, I think both. Mm-hmm. I think that they know,
they know it's bad and they know that they can spin it.
Right. Because I'm a firm believer that all of these politicians are playing the motherfucking game, besides maybe a select few, like Bernie, that's been saying the same thing for 70 years. Whatever.
No one likes to listen to
And
them.
it's just if I believe you're all playing a game, if you're playing chess and your opponent fucks up, you know what I'm saying? Guess what you're about to do? Take advantage of the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? Because you understand you're playing the game. And so if they realize, I'm sure a lot of officials realize that a lot of this force, the police, the federal, whatever is the National Guard, is not actually doing anything positive in these protests, right? And in any of these situations. Just being real. I want to believe these are smart individuals. So if I believe that, then obviously they see that it's going to cause negative things, when they come into that city. Once again, with people randomly missing, people getting prosecuted for nothing.
Imagine you got parents
they're gonna say,
on you, man.
Oh, Trump sent them niggas. Let's fuck with that guy because the Democratic Party's whole platform right now is fuck Trump. Let's not do anything real. Let's just say fuck Trump till we get elected. And so I think they were just trying to spin it to make it better for them. I mean, I don't agree with anything going on in Portland. We just have to call a spade a spade.
I'm just saying, though, it's think about this, too, for all people listening to our podcast. And I know there still are, even though we blatantly lay out our views certain ways, and I'm not saying everybody who listens to us should agree with us
at all. Think for yourselves.
But think for yourselves. But so I know there are definitely people out there who don't necessarily agree with a lot of things we talk about when it comes to Trump, or maybe like how this country's been handling the resurgence of like Black Lives Matter over like the summer and everything. And so I just want to ask you though, when you think about being in a family where you have individuals you know who are out protesting, and then protesting peacefully, and you're expecting to see them come home, and all of a sudden the clock strikes like 12, they're not back. 2 a.m. they're not back. The next day they're not back. All these things, time keeps going by, and you're worried like shitless because your loved ones have just disappeared. And it's because the U.S. military essentially has kidnapped them. How would that make you feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were in that position. Like, it's easy to support somebody from a position knowing that that's not going to happen to you because you're not going to go to the protest. You're not going to do what it takes to be, like, a voice and an active member of making a community heard. Imagine if you were that person who was trying to be helpful and then that had to happen to you.
Exactly. And it's just like, once again, just speaking about stuff we talked about prior in the protest. I personally know people in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We had the National Guard come down and like watch events, etc. But it's like we didn't have anything to that level. We had small instances. I don't want to undermine. There were instances, but people weren't getting kidnapped at the rates that they're getting kidnapped in Portland and just snagged up and like really just trying to get these niggas out of here for protesting, right? And so in Atlanta though, like I know many a person that was in jail for 12 plus hours, right? 12 plus hours. And if none of y'all understand the process, a lot of the times these motherfuckers were all just sitting in a holding cell because they didn't even make it into general population because they didn't get arrested for anything.
Bro, people are getting read their Miranda rights after they're already in holding.
And they're just
Is that not illegal?
It is illegal. These people are getting violated, let's just be real. And then their rights are getting violated, and they're just kind of skirting them out and saying, all right, you can go now. And there are people that have asked for, you know, receipts basically on why they were arrested and why they were in jail. And they're supposed to legally be able to print out documents and give them to you, right? And I know someone personally that was in jail for 13, 14 hours, right? Got out, and these niggas gave them a note that just said, was in jail. That's not a legal paper. Like, you can't use that in court. You can't use that to dismiss anything. You can't sue anybody off of that. You can't prove you were there because they're not going to give them the video of you sitting in the holding cell. So it's like a lot of fishy shit is still going on off of these Black Lives Matter protests. So y'all still be strong. Y'all still be out there. Y'all still speak up for these things, and y'all still fight, of course. Man. But just be cognizant of the fact that a lot of weird shit is going on, and please look out for your brothers and sisters while y'all are out there, because once again, I'd like to give a big shouts to the white people that are using their privilege to the best of their ability to try to protect the people of color and the black people.
Because it's starting to seem low key as time goes on. Police aren't getting less discriminate who they're snatching up too. They're like, fuck it. We're getting those white people out of here too now.
The person
like,
I told you what they know was white. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were locked up for that time. And so that is just looking weird. Yeah. I just hope it doesn't advance too, because people always, one thing we've noticed about history, right? And the crazy thing is about history repeating itself, and people not necessarily like giving credence to the fact that history is very much repeating itself and we're just doing the same things and falling into the same traps, is that when martial law starts in a small controlled area, right? If 45 gets reelected, it might not just be Portland. It might turn into, because he said, he was talking about how they were doing such a great job and we need to do it in all the major cities. So that's going to become like a Portland, an LA, an Atlanta, a New York City. And then it's slowly going to spread to the whole United States till they just control everything.
Election is the most important election of our lifetime, obviously, so far, because, I mean, we're 20-some years young, obviously, like, it's cool. But at the same time, the direction the country can take past this election is going to be almost determinant of whether or not a lot of people want to live here, and not just want to live here, want to actively claim like to be Americans. Because I know if 45 gets reelected, that man, you know, I'm going to save a lot of like whatever the political commentary of what I believe was going to happen later for later in case it does happen, and then we'll address it, because, you know, I'm not going to claim things a little bit prior. But I'm just saying, practice a little bit of foresight and knowing how to protect yourselves and kind of people and some weird shit's going on. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Absolutely. So just moving right along.
What do we got now, man? What are we moving into?
I'm Alexander.
He's no Alexander.
I'm the best ever.
Woo!
There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Listen. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their cloth. There's no one like me. There's no one that can catch me. My defense is impregnable. My style is impetuous. And I'm just ferocious. And I want his heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah. Tyson is coming back to fight Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. on September 12th. September 12th. And I have a couple things to say about this fight, and it has nothing to do with the god Mike Tyson, because I said nothing but respect from that nigga, because he would beat my stupid ass for even thinking
many
about
months
the
in the making of him leading up to that revelation, by the way.
Wow. Beat my
Please tune
dumb
into
ass.
some of the Offspace podcast episodes that we've had before where Chuka genuinely thought that he could put the pause on Mike Tyson
For one round.
For a
One
whole
round.
round.
One round.
For a whole round.
That nigga would kill me. I want to just go ahead and be clear. This is Chuka Offer speaking. That nigga would kill me. But that being said, I want to talk about the undercard, and I have to give some respects to the undercard.
I'm fucking geeked.
I have to give some respects to the undercard, right? Nate Robinson's on the undercard, right?
Yeah, man.
Nate Robinson's fighting Jake Paul.
Yeah, man.
And the only thing I want to give respect to, and it's not the fact that I don't think I could beat the dog shit out of Jake Paul, because I can and will beat the dog shit out of Jake Paul one day in Staples Center, just so the world can watch that, because that's going to be a good fight. That being said, I hope that all of my black brothers and sisters, because I know a lot of people love sports betting, right? Mm-hmm. And I hope none of y'all get your money fucked up by betting on Nate Robinson.
It's
a fight of boxing.
Look, man.
Boxing, there's reach. That nigga way bigger than him. I know Nate can bounce over niggas, but let's be real. Y'all are in a ring and y'all are fighting niggas. Please bet your money correctly. I'm going Tyson Jake.
I'm geeked for this fight.
I hate that nigga too, but I'm just being real.
And I don't know, to be honest, I don't know how the main card is going to turn up. Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson. I hope Mike Tyson wins. And to be honest,
that nigga
I
up.
think he will too.
Cleaning him up.
But I don't even
Fuck
know
Roy
what
Jones,
to expect
nigga.
when they step into it.
I'm sorry.
However, for that undercard, a lot of people are talking shit on my name, and a lot of people are giving me heat for it, especially in some of these past things I've seen. But I've kept up with a lot of these fucking fights since this man Jake Paul decided to start boxing, all right? And it was looking like scrub hours for a lot of the early fights. But that last fight, even though it was pretty shit, I started to see a little glimpses of him being a real boxer. So if he's been consistently boxing and goes into a training camp against Nate Robinson, who is 36 years old, 34, 36
like,
years
we
old.
have to be real.
And he is short, and he does not have reach, and he does not have that weight. It is going to be a problem for that man. However, Nate Robinson is not
a dog.
Listen,
dog.
I'm saying this. He's not to be underestimated, because a lot of like power, especially when it comes to like, I guess, setting up for like uppercuts and things like that, come from leg strength. And you know what Nate Robinson has?
Nothing but leg strength.
We saw that man bouncing at his height over the likes, jumping over Dwight Howard.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Casual?
Trust me, I never want to underestimate.
Casual?
And my first jump was to just assume Nate Robinson was going to clean this nigga up, because I never want to vote against a black man. But that being said,
You got to be real with yourself.
That being said, you got to be real. Jake's younger, right? Because age does go into effect. And then we talk about fights. The one thing is, I never said I would touch Mike up, pause. It's just like in that one round. The one thing I thought I had on him was just reach and the fact that he's 50-something. But then you think about the fact that Mike Tyson weighs 20 more pounds than me. He's heavier than me at 5'10".
And he's used to fighting people
people bigger than me and with bigger reaches, because he'll just get in there and kill you. Like, Jake is... Everything that I thought that Mike had against him versus me, Nate has against him versus Jake.
I think
Jake's younger and has been training for longer.
I think a lot of what we don't know or understand, though, because we know Nate Robinson to be a basketball player. So a lot of what we might not understand is this man might have a boxing background. And to be fair, he might have been boxing against people bigger than him. But I've just personally never seen it. So it's hard for me to give that type of a credence. I think Nate Robinson's just an ultra competitor and an athlete. And so I'm assuming that from the clips I saw of him training and things like that, I think he just wanted to step up to the challenge. And I think they needed to find an undercard for the Tyson fight. And knowing how gimmicky this fight kind of is with older competitors, Mike Tyson coming out of retirement after so long, all these things, they stepped up to the next big person that has kind of been in this gimmicky boxing realm but has attracted large numbers, and that's been the Paul brothers. And so they reached out to him. Nate Robinson probably just thought to himself, I can fuck him up, and if not, I'm gonna make some money. And it's like, I'm gonna go out and try my hardest, and he stepped up to the plate. So
I'm not a regular fight.
If he loses, I'm not gonna feel bad if Nate Robinson loses.
I wouldn't feel bad either.
I'm not gonna like talk shit about him and any of that. I would never anyway. But I'm saying I'm not gonna like try and throw dirt on his name, because I think he's
with
just
the white man
trying to see what he could do.
Can't do that with my brother. All right, so all luck to Nate. I know if I was a betting man, I would just go off of like optics.
Do you want to fly out to Vegas like before, just so we can play some bets down?
You will be seeing us Offspace Las Vegas coming soon.
It's cheap tickets. I'm just saying we can get a quick round trip just to drop a little bit of money. Also, I really might fly out to Vegas for some bets. We might do a vlog of it. We got the video side now.
Niggas gonna dress up like we're Havana Nights again, but just to go out to Vegas to fucking bet. Literally go on a flight, bet, and then fly back. Niggas not paying to stay out there to do what? The strip closed.
That'd be crazy.
With that being said, shouts out to him. I wanted to give a big shout out to the WNBA starting back up because I am going to be catching some of the games this year because A, I want to show more support to female sports, of course, but B, they've got a killer in Sabrina Ionescu, and that is one of my favorite athletes on the planet, period, man or woman. And so I'm really excited to see her. Like, I really want to see her in dog season versus the pros. Because you saw how she was cleaning up people her age. Like, when you first told me about it, I was like, oh, this person's, like, going hard, blah, blah. Because I'm
not just trying to boost for the fact of, like, she's a woman. I'm trying to boost people who I know are good at what they fucking do.
And we saw
she's good at what she fucking does.
And it's not even just the women thing. It's just, like, we saw the Connecticut team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lived through that. Like, through these niggas just, like, undefeated through, like, years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was like, oh, there's no way it's going to be more impressive than that. And then I literally just watched her play. It's more impressive than that in one person. Like, so she is nuts. So I can't wait to see her play.
The WNBA side, it is nice to see the season coming back, and a lot of like NBA players are trying to raise awareness around it too. Like you saw them coming to like the scrimmages and kind of in the bubble, wearing the orange hoodies with like the WNBA logo on it, trying to show support and like solidarity for like their women counterparts. It is kind of sad though, because I'm not gonna lie. You have some of the best talent in the WNBA, and I don't know why the plight feels like it, or like the fight feels like it has to be put on their shoulders to be a part of. But you have a lot of quality players who have stepped out of that realm to support like matters bigger than them. Like Maya Moore has been one of the best WNBA players in the last
history.
And like I want to say in history, but I know at least I can say she is a top player in history though.
Oh, she's a Hall of Famer already.
And so she gave up her whole last season to help a man get out of jail who was wrongfully imprisoned. Like, you can't make these kind of stories up. And you know it's kind of crazy and it's cool to see, but a lot of good talent is out like that. I'm hoping still, though, that a lot of quality talent is still playing so that people who are finally, because I think a lot of people are going to give the WNBA a chance when they haven't had access to sports and now they're just on a little bit of a high. Because I know people who weren't even trying to watch the NBA like that.
Nigga, I've been watching middle school highlights on YouTube, bro. I've been watching anything. I need hoops,
bro.
I need hoops. And so I will be watching that WNBA. I promise you that. And shouts out to Shea Serrano.
The man's always been a big advocate of, like, I guess, just women's basketball in general. And I know he put up all the pre-order money on one of his latest releases to do a $1,000 half-court shot challenge for the Aces' first game. And so it was kind of nuts to see like him supporting people like that and like supporting these young women, like their pursuits to just be hoopers and do what they do. So y'all motherfuckers, learn, take notes, and do better.
Yes, sirski. And then moving right along in more sports news, today was the last day of the English Premier League, and then I'm going to let Esgo wrap us up on the pod with just NBA bubble stuff, right? But just give y'all a little bit of news just because I know we do have people that do enjoy watching soccer. I love watching soccer, but we never brought it up initially because we didn't know if it was just like a big enough draw, you know, with our audience.
Yeah.
But that being said, Liverpool ended up winning the league like they've been won. Like they won weeks ago, but they didn't end up beating the point record, which they very easily could have done. But these niggas on the beach right now, like they've been celebrating. They don't give a fuck. And so shouts out to Liverpool. Bournemouth, Watford, and Norwich ended up getting relegated, which it was scary to see. I'm not going to lie. It made me kind of sad a little bit today, even though, like, being real, you should have showed up all season. But Bournemouth was playing Everton today, and they put on a clinic to try their best to, like, stay alive. You know what I'm saying? But just, it was one of those situations where if they won, these people had to lose and blah, blah, blah for them to stay.
They're just fighting for their fucking lives at that point.
And things didn't fall into their hands.
Because wasn't, I guess, obviously, because you could tell the way that the seeding ended up and how things played out, Aston Villa was in dangerous trouble getting relegated too.
These niggas got so lucky. I'm not gonna lie to you. Aston Villa got so lucky, and
wouldn't it be crazy to see them get relegated though? Because I feel like that's just a name that's kind of established. Things like
it's
that.
a name that's been established, but if I'm not mistaken, they have been in and out in the last decade because they haven't been the best.
I think DJ was saying like this might be their first year back in.
After I think they were out just like 6 years ago. About once again, we'd have to double check that, but Aston Villa, our whole lives, has been a big enough club that it's weird to not hear about them in the Prem.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just cool, I guess, watching like players like a Grealish, right? Because Grealish is their best player by far, right? So that nigga looks so unworried. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just like, bro, if they got relegated, a big team was gonna pick him up because he could play on any team in the world right now. Like, Grealish is a star. Like, he's a good guy.
And they got some of the season-ending stuff, I guess. You would probably know this more than me, but I think Vardy just is the oldest player to ever win the Golden Boot.
Bro, fuck James Vardy's old ass, bro. This nigga look 93 and he looks pissed off at all times, bro. Like, nobody ever wanted. No offense to Vardy, because
I want to say something because I don't want to fuck up and give credit to the wrong person. Because it's not necessarily him I'm giving credit, scared to, but he wasn't the person who was involved in that DUI, right?
No, I don't believe so.
All right, then we're cool. We're good. Anyway.
Yeah, it's Jamie Vardy, and he won it for the first time, and he was the oldest player to do so. And so, like, shouts out to Vardy, don't get me wrong, but that shit is just hilarious to me. And moving right along, though, my roommate's a big Arsenal fan, and I know a lot of Arsenal fans. Shouts out to y'all. Y'all, they ended up clinching, like, the 8th spot, right? Which was nuts to me, because Sheffield looks crazy for a big chunk of the season, and then they've just been fucking sandbagging the last fucking few weeks, and so Arsenal found a way to slime their way into 8th, so they're gonna actually be able to still play for a cup next season, so that's gonna be interesting to watch. So I just can't wait till soccer comes back, right?
I think I'm gonna be really not gonna lie, because especially after y'all don't understand, and I know it's a weird way to really dive back in the sport of like soccer and everything, and like especially being excited for games, but you've seen it because you live here. Me and DJ have played an ungodly amount of FIFA.
Shouts out to DJ.
An ungodly amount.
Y'all niggas play every day.
And so being able to, I guess, get the attraction of soccer back from that game and bringing it to my eyes for just a spectator standpoint, it is nice, and I'm excited to kind of keep up with the seasons moving forward and everything.
And so, shouts out once again to the Prem. Shouts out to everybody watching. I love fucking with my friends because
see it.
I've been like this for most sports throughout my life, which Ezgo can attest to. Other than my obvious allegiances to the Pelicans, the Saints, and LSU, like that's been the only real allegiances for me. Like, usually it's I like a player, so I like the team because of the player. Like that was how I was with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He was my favorite player for most of my life, and it's just funny.
I feel like soccer's easy to do that though because we don't. The biggest, I would say, the biggest leagues aren't in the U.S. and shit.
For sure.
So, like, when you're trying to be a fan of, like, I guess some overseas shit, a lot of the times what attracts you there is the players. Like, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but Fernando Torres is my favorite player of all time.
No, for surely, and that's a big thing that a lot of people do. But it's funny because a lot of my friends, they are like diehard fans of like certain teams, whether it be like an Arsenal or a Man City, etc. And so I love the fact that I'll just wear anything. You know what I'm saying? I'll pull up in the Liverpool kit. I'll pull up in the Crystal Palace kit, nigga. Like I'll pull up in anything. Shouts out to Ash. It's just like these motherfuckers get so mad sometimes. Like I love fucking with your scenes ass just because pause. But it's just like that man gets so mad when it comes to Man City because he loves them niggas. So I don't want to take away
these
from
are really
his
diehard
love,
fans.
For real. Like, that's a real fan. But I just love saying shit like, oh, Manchester's red, my friend, blah, blah, blah. And talking about, like, the young talent. Jesse Lingard is almost 30, bro. That's not young talent. But niggas still like to say shit like that. It's just
How long
funny
ago was
thing.
that World Cup, bro? It really felt like that man was so young.
It felt like he was so young, right? But it's like...
He wasn't even young back then.
He wasn't even that young. It's just people have been selling him as, like, youth, which I guess 20s are still your youth. But that nigga, like, 28, 29.
Yeah.
And it's funny, though, because he scored today. And so I immediately was talking to you, seeing them. I was like, bro, y'all don't got a talent like Jesse Lingard.
Bro, somebody had a stat up for players who have scored or whatever, and it was like Lingard won, like Ronaldo, like all these different dudes, like 0, but it was like a stat that they couldn't even get a goal in.
Of course. Bro, this nigga had his manager had to tell him to get off Instagram.
Bro, that's crazy.
Because he was on he was on social media so much since like the World Cup, just being popping, hanging out with people, really pulling a Kuzma.
Bro, I was about to say, I was just about to say soccer's Kuzma.
He's soccer's Kuzma. Lingard is soccer Kuzma.
So much potential, but he's putting it in the wrong places.
That nigga put his potential in everywhere else. But speaking of Kuzma, shouts out to the bubble.
Yeah, man. Bro, I've never once in my life, whether it be high school, middle school, like college, been excited to watch a scrimmage of any sports team because that's boof behavior. That's doof behavior. There's no reason you're going to spectate the season and you're going to watch the playoffs and you're going to see some runs. That's cool. The NBA bubble, as soon as this shit even got announced, really got brought back, it's been one of those, I'm watching the highlights, I'm catching games as they're playing, I'm excited for it. I don't know about you, like, seeing us beat...
Nigga, I was ready to take my shirt off in my room watching a scrimmage. That's how badly I've missed hoops.
What? Bro, I'm not gonna lie, seeing us do Denver the way that we did without Zion, I think we might win. We might go ahead and get the chip this year.
More tunes for their head tops. I told you.
Without Zion, I think we might get the chip.
Zion just
you
got
didn't,
back
you didn't
too.
tell me. You didn't tell me.
I couldn't tell you because your eyes were open.
I was about to say, I called this at the beginning of the season as a possibility.
Your eyes were open. Your eyes have been open. Like I try to tell everybody, shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans, 2020 NBA champions on the way. Yes, sir.
All right. If they're not
2021.
Look, I'm not even going to say if they're not, because last year I called the champions. This year I'm going to call them again, the underdogs. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Vegas, you're going to see me soon.
These niggas already got to know what the fucking vibes are. Like, New Orleans Pelicans to the day we die. Zion, the best player in the league.
Did you see
Zoe,
Bobo
the best point guard in the league?
I'm not gonna keep it too much Pelicans right now because I know we always do. But that boy Bobo is going stupid, and he's looking like another KD.
Bro, he's looking crazy. And the funniest part about Bobo going crazy is like, bro, niggas are gonna cancel me. Never mind. But it's like the second he started going nuts. And look at this nigga face. Esco truly thinks I'm gonna be the one that gets the Offspace.
Bro, we're
canceled.
one video and this man's trying to get us canceled. That's crazy.
It's just like the crazy thing about him going nuts is Bobo was on fire, you know, shooting crazy, blocking crazy. Bro, he stuffed the nigga, walked down the court, said, I'm not passing to you, and then went a three.
Jokic called for the ball. Star player. Your biggest player by far.
Your franchise player.
I would say it was one of the top players in the league. Calls for the ball, and he says, nah, fuck that.
Said,
pull up from the three, and then splashes. Iconic. I'm just saying.
They drug tested him right after the game, by the way, because they thought something had to be up. They said a nigga that looked like you is not playing like this. And so they had to drug test him.
It's nice, though, because, you know, they're kind of treating these like preseason games. Like, obviously, teams want to win, and you're seeing stars play, but you're not really seeing
But you'll see stars play like a half max.
Exactly.
Like it's usually like a quarter. Like really.
So you're seeing a lot of the younger talent, and a lot of the, like, I guess, bench depth and things like that, and whether or not these players stay consistent during the off time
and
during the
hiatus.
hiatus.
Called it. We called Bobo a steal of the draft just because we were confused how low he went because he got injured at Oregon, so he wasn't allowed to play it the whole season. So niggas drafted him like late in the first, and it was just like
when you got somebody who's
this nigga 7 foot.
He's 7. I think he's like 7'3".
You know what I'm saying?
He's somewhere around there.
And his bag is offense.
You got to over 7 foot. You consistently pull up from three. I remember seeing this before. And what did he do? Get multiple championships. I'm just saying.
And so, do you have anything else to add?
I know they're coming back into the regular games here within the next week. I believe
Zion back, by the way.
Yeah.
Just in case y'all niggas was ready to talk, Zion back.
And so
good 4-day quarantine.
I think now that we got this video side up, before I go ahead and get into like the closing shit, the Offspace might go ahead and try and put together some collaborative experiences and kind of community events for maybe some of these broadcasts going on, whether we do like live watch parties or whatever. You know, I'm just spitballing some shit here and trying to incorporate.
I'm not trying to watch basketball
viewership
with nobody not named Cullen or Gavin, so what's am?
Yeah, but I mean, we might live stream it. We might live stream us watching games. So anyway, everybody who's
I'm fucking
listening,
with y'all, love all of y'all for sure.
everybody who's listened to this point, though, we appreciate y'all. If you have any comments on, yeah.
Oh yeah, but no, it's all good. But we appreciate everybody. We love everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Next week, I'm about to hit Esgo with some of the craziest poverty or privilege. Don't think we forgot about that because that's definitely one of my most fun segments. But this week, we're going to give a little bit of a break to it. You know, let it breathe for a second.
About to say, you know, we got consistent segments. Y'all know you're going to see it eventually here and there.
For surely. But other than that, my name is Chuka.
My name is Ezigo.
And this
is the Offspace.
Yeah.
Space.